Hello everyone, I welcome you all to QCOL. My name is Anjali Mishra. I teach science and students in this video I'm going to take you through class 10th chapter 4 which is about carbon and its compounds. So students, the very first thing that we are going to cover in today's lesson is about occurrence of carbon, यानी कि हमें कार्बन कहाँ कहाँ मिल सकता है. So the first statement is carbon is found in the atmosphere, inside the earth's crust and in all the living organisms. So where we can find carbon? In the atmosphere, inside the earth's crust and in all the living organisms. Then carbon is also present in fuels like wood, coal, charcoal, petroleum, etc. So it's not just about कि कार्बन हमें सिर्फ एटमॉस्फेयर या लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स में ही मिलता है. It can also be found in different types of fuels. Moving on, जो कार्बन है it is present in different types of compounds. For example, carbonates, hydrogen carbonates, etc. And then carbon is also found in free state such as diamond, graphite and valence. So students, जो diamond है, जो graphite है और जो valence है, what are these? These are called as electrodes of carbon. Means that ये वो सारे compounds हैं which are only made of carbon atom. So therefore these three will be called as electrodes of carbon. Moving on. Now we are going to talk about bonding in carbon atom. So students, जो कार्बन एटम्स होते हैं उनमें जो बॉन्डिंग होती है, जो बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशन होता है, वो बेसिकली कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड्स होते हैं. अब आइए पहले बात करते हैं कि कितने टाइप्स के बॉन्ड होते हैं और इनके अंदर क्या होता है, किस तरीके से ये फॉर्म होते हैं. सो बच्चों, जो बॉन्ड्स होते हैं एलिमेंट्स के बीच बेसिकली टू टाइप्स के होते हैं. One is called as ionic bond and the second one is what is called as covalent bond. So अगर हम बात करें कि इन दोनों टाइप्स के बॉन्ड में डिफरेंस क्या है, इन आयनिक बॉन्ड जो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स होते हैं those are either gained or lost. यहाँ पर कोई भी एटम जो है जो आयोनिक बॉन्ड फॉर्म कर रहा है विद द अदर एटम, it will either gain an electron or it will lose an electron. And ऐसा करने के बाद they will share a very strong force of attraction between each other and this will result in the formation of ionic bond. For example, let's just take sodium and chlorine. So sodium, since it's a metal, as per its nature, it is the one that will lose an electron, and chlorine, since it's a non-metal, as per nature it will gain an electron. So जो एटम लूज करेगा स्टूडेंट्स वो पॉजिटिव चार्ज एक्वायर करेगा and the one which will gain an electron will acquire a negative charge. And after that both of them will get attracted together by a very strong force of attraction and therefore results in the formation of ionic bond. अब आइए टॉपिक पर आते हैं एंड कवर करते हैं अबाउट व्हाट इज अ कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड. So students, covalent bond means that these bonds are just formed between two non-metals. For example, between hydrogen gas, between chlorine element, bromine, iodine and all those stuff. So यहाँ पर every single element which is going to form a covalent bond, they will share electrons with each other. They are not going to lose or gain electron. Instead of that, they will share electrons. तो अब अगर हम बात करें कार्बन एटम की, सो एज पर द पीरियोडिक टेबल द एटॉमिक नंबर ऑफ कार्बन इज 6. अब since they are saying that the atomic number of carbon is 6, we are first going to discuss that what is an atomic number. So students, जो एक atom होता है, basically it has 3 subatomic particles. One proton, second one neutron and the last one is electron. So जो proton और neutron होते हैं students, those are found within the nucleus. But electrons, since they are negatively charged, they have their specific cells and these electrons are placed within these shells. तो अगर हम बात करें what is an atomic number basically represents that the number of protons or electrons which are there in an atom. और हमेशा याद रखिए, in case of atoms, the number of protons, that is positively charged particles, are always equal to the number of electrons which are negatively charged particles. So here the atomic number of carbon is 6. That indicates that it is going to have 6 electrons. So its electronic arrangement, that means the way how we are going to place electrons is going to be 2, 4. That means we will first place 2 electrons in the first shell and then around 4 electrons in the second shell. But as per octet rule, there should be 8 electrons if this carbon has to become a stable atom. So what carbon will do here is it can share electrons so that it can become a more stable element. तो वो तो बाद में पढ़ेंगे. Now let's just focus on the fact that there will just be 4 electrons in the outermost shell of carbon atom. So हम क्या करेंगे, that it has 4 valence electrons. So it can attain stability, जैसा मैंने कहा, by gaining 4 electrons or by losing 4 electrons. But there is also a third option, and that is by sharing 4 electrons. So what carbon does here is it does not gain electron because it is difficult for 6 protons to hold 10 electrons. It does not lose electrons because it needs a large amount of energy to lose those electrons. So जो कार्बन है वो बेस्ट ऑप्शन ऑप्ट करता है और वो है that it shares 4 electrons with the other atom so that it could attain stability, so that it could become a more stable atom, and this results in the formation of covalent bond. So since carbon needs 4 electrons to attain stability, its valency is 4, or in other words it is tetravalent. बच्चों अगर आप यहाँ पर दोनों डायग्राम्स पर फोकस करें, in the first case electron has been represented by using dots, and in the second case electrons have been represented by using crosses. So it's up to you that which symbol you want to use in order to represent electrons which are there in the shells of any element. Here it's about carbon. So since its valency is 4, they will have 4 electrons in their outermost shell. Moving on. Now let's talk about how formation of covalent bond happens in the carbon atom. So here they are saying the same thing. Sharing of electrons will occur, but there is one thing that we have to keep in mind. Every single time, no, it's not like that कि जो single atom ही share होगा, single electron ही share होगा. You will find some cases जहाँ पर 2 electrons will be shared or 3 electrons will be shared. So depending upon how many number of electrons are being shared, we say that it's a double covalent bond, or It's a triple covalent bond. Okay, so now let's first talk about in what all case there will be a single covalent bond. So the number one case is hydrogen gas. So in case of hydrogen gas, what happens is its atomic number is 1. Therefore, it will have one electron in its outermost shell. So to become a stable element or to attain stability, it will require one more. So it will share that one extra electron from the neighboring atom, and as you can see, this will result in the formation of hydrogen molecule having chemical formula H2. अब आइए देखते हैं that how double covalent bonds are formed. So for that, we'll take example of oxygen gas. The atomic number of oxygen is 8. So its electronic configuration would be 2, 6. So how many valence electrons? 6. And how many extra electron does it need to become a stable element? 2 more, right? So this oxygen atom here will share 2 electrons with the other oxygen atom, and therefore this will result in the formation of double covalent bond. So hydrogen had a single covalent bond, but oxygen here has a double covalent bond. Moving on, आइए देखते हैं that in which element there is a triple covalent bond. So इसका best example है students nitrogen gas. So nitrogen has an atomic number of 7. Electronic configuration would be 2, 5. So its valence electrons would be 5, and therefore it is going to require 3 more extra electron to attain stability. So therefore जो नाइट्रोजन गैस है स्टूडेंट्स, नाइट्रोजन एलिमेंट है, वो क्या करेगा? इट विल शेयर 3 more electrons with the other nitrogen atom. और ऐसे जैसा आप स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हो, ट्रिपल कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड फॉर्म होंगे बाय शेयरिंग 3 pairs of electron. Therefore हमें नाइट्रोजन एलिमेंट से क्या मिलता है? नाइट्रोजन गैस that has chemical formula N2. So यहाँ पर स्टूडेंट्स हमें डिफरेंट एग्जाम्पल्स दिए गए हैं to show that how we can figure out that how many types of bonds are there between different elements. In case number 1, we have hydrogen molecule. So since there is just one pair of electron being shared, single covalent bond. Same goes with fluorine, single covalent bond. But if we talk about carbon dioxide gas, students carefully notice करिए, यहाँ पर 2 sides हैं. In first case 2 pairs of electron, in second case again 2 pairs of electron. So therefore there will be total 4 covalent bonds in case of carbon dioxide gas. Okay, then the same goes with a molecule of carbon tetrafluoride, 1 carbon, and tetrafluoride means 4 fluoride atom or 4 fluorine atom. So since एक pair of electron है on all the 4 sides, there will be 4 covalent bonds in total in a molecule of carbon tetrafluoride. Moving on, here they have given us that how we can draw electron dot structures in case of different elements. See students, जब भी बात आती है compounds की, as I said, compound means that where we'll have 2 elements combined together, right? So यहाँ पर since we are using 2 different elements, उनके electrons भी अलग होंगे, तो हम differentiate कैसे करके बताएं कि कौन सा electron किस element का है? तो यहाँ पर जो best method है जो हम follow कर सकते हैं, that is For one element to represent its electron, we'll use dots, and for the other element, we'll use crosses. So जब हम बात करते हैं मीथेन, that has chemical formula CH4, हम क्या करेंगे? We'll place carbon in the centermost position, क्योंकि कार्बन सिर्फ एक है, followed by placing all the 4 hydrogen atoms. So because of this, what will happen is, this will show that one carbon that has 4 valence electron will form single covalent bond with the 4 hydrogen elements. उसी तरीके से in the second case also, where we have ethane, what happens is the number of carbon atoms are 2. So centermost position में you have to place carbon atom followed by 6 hydrogen atom. So carbon के outer space में you can easily draw the 4 electrons or valence electrons, and then in case of hydrogen atom, there will be just one single electron, and they will be sharing electrons with the 2 carbon atom. So this is how you have to show electron dot structure, that how bonds are being formed between different elements which are there in a compound. Now we are going to talk about what is catenation. So for that, the heading says that the formation of very large number of carbon compounds. So students, क्या होता है, that carbon atom is one such atom which has this capacity, this capability that it can form long chains of carbon atom. Not just about long chains, it can also form branch chains or even closed rings. So this property of carbon, where it can form long chains of carbon atom or branch chains of carbon atom or even closed rings, this property would be called as catenation. So since the valency of electron is how much? Recall kariye, it's 4, because its atomic number is 6. So electronic configuration would be 2, 4. Therefore, whenever you will draw the structural formula of carbon atom, you have to make sure that there should be 4 space, like 4 dots, to show that it has the capacity to share electrons with the other atoms. Moving on, let's just talk about hydrocarbons. So students, as the name says, hydrocarbon compounds. Hydrocarbon compounds means that those compounds which are just made of carbon and hydrogen atoms only. So the best example of this could be methane, ethane, and so on. So here also, like within hydrocarbons also, we have divided them into 2 types. One is called as saturated hydrocarbons, and the other ones are called as unsaturated hydrocarbons. So बच्चों, अगर हम बात करें that what are saturated hydrocarbons, here you have to make sure that there should only be a single covalent bond between carbon atom. For example, as we have methane, this one carbon atom here is forming 4 bonds, 4 single covalent bond with the other hydrogen atoms, right? So therefore, it's a saturated hydrocarbon. Again, why? Because they all are forming only the single covalent bond. That's it. After this, as we know that the compounds which are there in hydrocarbons, if there is a single carbon atom, you will start its name as meth. If there are 2 carbon atoms, you will start its name as eth. Now, the question is what alphabets we should use at the last section. So, since it's an alkane, Alkane means where there are just single covalent bonds between the molecules or between the atoms. You are just required to place A and E at the end, and this will clearly show that if it is methane, it belongs to alkane group. If it is ethane, it belongs to alkane group, and so on. Moving on, now let's just talk about what are unsaturated hydrocarbon. So याद रखिए, single covalent bond means alkanes or saturated hydrocarbons, but unsaturated means that you will find that hydrocarbons will have a double or a triple covalent bond, and the best examples are alkenes and alkynes. Students, आपको हमेशा याद रखना है that जब भी हम इनका nomenclature करेंगे, naming system follow करेंगे, their name will always start with meth, eth, prop, but, pent and so on. The only difference that will occur would be in the last 3 alphabets. So talking about ethane, here you will find those hydrocarbon compounds where they will share double covalent bond. So here we have ethene. Eth means 2 carbon atom and the number of hydrogen atoms are 4. So we'll first place 2 double bonds or 2 covalent bonds between the carbon atom. So 2 valency to fulfill ho gayi. Now they only need 2 more. So here the carbon will form 1 covalent bond with the other hydrogen atom and 1 more covalent bond with the other hydrogen atom. Therefore, now they will attain stability, and same goes with all the compounds which are there in the alkene group. And lastly, now let's just talk about what are alkynes. So students, alkynes means those hydrocarbon compounds where the carbon atoms will share triple covalent bond. So यहाँ पर आप screen पर देख सकते हो that the carbon atoms are sharing triple covalent bond. So since triple covalent bond has already been there, it just need 1 more bond with the other hydrogen atom. So therefore, we have ethyne and propyne. And the last thing is, whenever you will name alkene or alkyne, in case of alkene, just replace the last 3 words by E-N-E, that is ene. And ene indicates that this is one such hydrocarbon compound. I'm sorry. This is one such hydrocarbon compound where the atoms have a double covalent bond. And just like this, if we talk about alkynes, this represents that this is one such hydrocarbon compound where the carbon atoms have a triple covalent bond. So students, this was it for today's session. We'll cover the rest of the topic in your next video.